Hello everyone. Till now we had already discussed about the molecular structure of DNA as well as RNA and even the biomolecules which are utilized in order to form these structures. But today we will discuss about the Hershey and Chase experiment. This is a very landmark experiment which was done by two scientists, and because of that the genetic material was found. The experiment was done with the help of two substances or two organisms. One was a T2 phage, and another one was a E. coli bacterium. Now the difference between a E. coli bacterium and T2 phage is T2 phage is a kind of virus which infects a bacteria. I cannot write it over here, but you should understand. So T2 phage will infect a bacteria and E. coli is a bacteria. So we required these two things, and then after we proceed with this Hershey and Chase experiment. What we do is we take this E. coli, and with on this E. coli there is attack of the T2 phage. T2 phage looks like somewhat like this. The structure is not properly made. Wait. So the structure of the T2 phage is as such that it has a protein coat. I'm unable to make it, but still I hope you all will be able to, it has presence of these kind of some legs, and along with it there is presence of a pipe which is known as a collar. I hope you all remember in class 11 we had discussed about the structure of a virus, and over there we had discussed about this collar. Collar is as such that it is capable of transmitting the genetic material from the T2 phage to the E. coli. So once the T2 phage through the collar injects its genetic material inside the E. coli, the transformation takes place in the E. coli cells. What exactly happens is that this T2 phage goes and infects or invades the nucleus of the E. coli and instructs the nucleus to form copies of the T2 phage virus. So after a certain period of time, the entire E. coli cell starts making only the T2 phage, and the entire cell bursts open itself and explodes with the presence of huge amount of T2 phage. And in this way, the infection is forwarded to the entire organism, or it can infect other organisms also with the same way. Now, the experiment was done with the help of, this is a T2 phage, you all can see. Now you all can see some, these kind of structures. These are basically protein sticks, and the presence of these protein sticks are as such that they are the ones which help in binding with the bacterium. The bacterium surface has a kind of receptor. The receptors are as such that these receptors of the T2 phage go and bind with it, and as soon as the T2 phage receptor bind with the receptors which are present on the bacterium, this T2 phage content is taken in or is allowed by the bacterial cell to move inside. Okay, and because of that the infection is moved to the genetic material of the E. coli. Now GP, you all can see it is a glycoprotein, and number is given 20, 23, 24. It is just given as such. Now you don't need to focus on these all things. The most important part is that just these structures, they are as such that they form a typical structural configuration, and it can fit into the receptors which are present on the bacterial surface, and as soon as it gets attached over here, it is taken in by the bacterium, and then after transformation occurs in the bacterium itself. Now one more thing is there, children. This movement of the genetic material of this T2 phage takes place through this place, and this is known as collar. Please remember that. And the genetic material, as soon as it is inserted inside the bacterium, this entire thing, it falls off from the bacterium body, and this is how the infection is forwarded to the T2 phage, from the T2 phage to the bacterium. Now, as the bacterium divides, the T2 phage content also, or T2 RNA also divides the similar way. Now, bacteriophage, the same thing is written over here. You all have to focus on the lines. Bacteriophage on infection injects only the DNA into the bacterial cell. So here it is the DNA. Bacteriophage has certain kind of genetic material. That genetic material is incorporated into the bacterial cell and it gets infected. Now, one thing is to be kept into mind, that is that this protein coat is not at all taken in or is not allowed to move inside the bacterium. The bacterial cell treats the viral DNA as its own. Why? Because it has got attached to the surface receptors of the bacterium, and that's why a self sense has developed in the bacterium, and because of that the invasion of the bacterial DNA takes place, and now only the virus is formed by numerous replications. They made two different times, and this is the general knowledge which you should have before performing the experiment. Now, for the experiment, what was done was they took two different kinds of strains. One was radioactive phosphorus, so it was P32 which was taken, and radioactive sulfur was taken, which was S35. Now, children, two things you have to remember. First thing is, where is phosphorus present in a DNA? It is present in the backbone, exactly. And sulfur is present in the protein coat. Now, these two things has to be kept in mind. See, DNA has presence of P phosphorus, and phosphorus was labeled with radioactive substance, which was P32. And sulfur was present in the protein coat, and it was labeled with S35, an isotope of sulfur. And both these two different kind of radio labeled substances were present in the bacteriophage, and the bacteriophage moved or passed on the infection to the bacterium, E. coli bacterium, subsequently. And as the bacterium forwarded the genetic material to the bacterium, during that time two things took place. First thing which took place was the infection occurred. See, you can see that children, first of all, you should remember that two experiments are taking place simultaneously. First one is for the sulfur. You see, this is the sulfur one, and this one is the phosphorus one. So we'll just write it over here. Two test tubes will be there, or entire experimental setup will be there. First thing which took place was the radio labeling of the T2 phage took place. So two places or two test tubes were taken. In first test tube, phosphorus or P32 was there, and with the help of P32, see here P35 is written, please change it, it is P32. So here there is a mistake. So anyways, in both the test tubes, the radio labeling was done separately. And first test tube, which contained the protein 1, it infection was given to the bacterium, and the DNA now had the presence of radio labeled sulfur. Is it possible that the DNA can be radio labeled? No, because protein was the one which contained the sulfur. So here protein coat is the one which is falling off. It is only the genetic material, that is DNA of the T2 phage, which will be entering the nucleus or the genetic material of the bacterium. So the protein fell off along with the radio labeled sulfur. So when this particular test tube was taken, and all these bacterium, they were killed. After that, there was centrifugation done. At first, blending means cutting off the cells of the bacterium and taking out the inside content outside, and after that blending it at a very high speed. Blending in the sense the way we use the mixer grinder, similar way it was grinded and rotated at a very high speed. When something is rotated at a very high speed, then there is presence or there is separation according to the weight. The things which are heavier, they settle down, and the lighter things, they move up or float in the supernatant. Similar thing happened. You can see that the capsid, which was capsid is the upper coat, protein coat of the bacteriophage. Now, capsid was present in the supernatant and it showed the radioactivity, showing the presence of protein in the supernatant, and it was not the genetic material for sure. Now, the next experiment we should look up to. In the next experiment, we saw that phosphorus was there. As soon as this bacterium T2 phage infected the bacterium, something went inside and the protein coat, definitely capsids all fell off. Then blending was done, and after centrifugation, there was no radioactivity seen in the supernatant which was there. Supernatant is the fluid which was present in, or the liquid portion which was floating up. In that there was no presence of radioactivity, and as because there was no presence of radioactivity, it was very evident that the radioactivity was present inside the nucleus, the genetic material of the bacterium. And with the end of this experiment, we got an idea that the genetic material which is getting forwarded from T2 phage to the bacterium is the DNA. DNA is moving. So this idea we all developed after this experiment. So this was a very remarkable experiment done by Hersey and Chase, and which became a revolutionary experiment. Later on, with this idea, we came to few conclusions. What were the conclusions? It was found that the phage containing radioactive DNA was used to infect the bacteria. Its radioactivity was found in the bacterial cell, in the sediment. So this is very important, indicating that DNA has been injected into the bacterial cell. So the DNA was considered as the genetic material. This is our most important thing. So DNA is the genetic material came to be proved or became proved after this experiment, because the proteins and DNA, both of them were labeled. Protein was labeled with sulfur 35 and DNA was labeled with phosphorus 32. Now, how to remember that which one is being labeled with what? You all know that backbone of DNA contains the phosphate. It contains the phosphate, and with that knowledge you always relate phosphate with DNA, and the other one you keep it with protein or the capsid. Methionine is an important component of the protein of capsid. So you all have not studied about it till now, but yeah, this is a little thing you can think of. So in this way, if you proceed with the experiment, you will see that this one, phosphorus P32, is incorporated inside the genetic material, whereas S35 is falling off as supernatant, as a pellet, or as substance floating over the surface of the centrifuged tube. And this made a evident decision that DNA is the genetic material. Okay, so this is all about Hersey and Chase experiment. Now, as we end the Hersey and Chase experiment, we came to a conclusion that you can see this experiment once again and just recapitulate. First, infection was done, and radio labeling is very well shown over here. You can see that sulfur is radio labeled in the capsid, whereas here capsid is having the radio labeled sulfur, whereas phosphorus is labeled in the genetic material or the DNA core. So DNA core is getting forwarded. Here also DNA core is getting forwarded, but sulfur is not getting forwarded, and that's why sulfur is falling off. Here you can see that no sulfur is detected in the cell of, or the bacterial cell, whereas supernatant has presence of radioactivity. Here in this experiment, second experiment, you can see that radioactivity is not present in the supernatant, but the after the centrifugation, the sediment, the bacterial cell has the presence of radioactivity. So this all was the summary, or is the summary of the chapter. Now, as an end, we get to know or that which one is a better genetic material. For this, let us have a few points. You already know that DNA and RNA both are genetic material. Why? Because they are very stable. They have high mutation capability. these can be forwarded from one generation to another. So inheritance can be seen in them. And if we compare DNA and RNA as a whole, the structure, on the basis of the structure, you can very well correlate with two structural importance. One is the free hydroxyl group, which is present in the RNA, and RNA has in deoxyribose sugar, second position of the sugar lacks the presence of OH, and that's why it is much more stable. DNA is much stable than RNA, and RNA has presence of OH in the second position, and it becomes less stable. It is much more reactive. That is about the kind of sugar. Second important thing is about the presence of uracil. Uracil is seen to be present in RNA, and it is formed by deamination of the thymine. And you all should remember that wherever there is presence of more thymine, more stability is there. So here, because of presence of uracil, you all know the spelling of uracil, so you all can remember that. Uracil, the RNA becomes less stable. So if we compare the stability of RNA is less as compared to DNA, and that's why the higher organisms, they have presence of DNA as a genetic material, whereas the lower organisms, they always stick to RNA, like the viruses. Now the organisms who have the genetic material as RNA, they are prone to mutation to a very high degree. So every time a virus is moving from one organism to another, that time there is some modification or some mutation taking place. So you can just think randomly, in 1000 base pairs there will be a mistake of one base pair. That is evident in case of RNA, whereas in DNA it is not there in such high proximity. Rarely any error occurs, and forwarding the same error to the next generation is something which is very rare. There is very less chance that this can happen. So with this knowledge, we come to a conclusion that DNA and RNA both are genetic material, but since DNA is much more stable, so we consider DNA to be a better genetic material as compared to RNA, whereas RNA is also a genetic material, but it is very quickly changing kind of genetic material. So with this, I think we can complete today's topic, Hershey-Chase experiment, and why DNA is a better genetic material as compared to RNA.